Nope, nobody able to hear me for some reason. Why is my mic here? Let me mute that. down. And 3, 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Let's go.
G'day and welcome everyone to Oceanic Gaming Radio. That's OGR, Ogre for short. Great to have you here on this wonderful Wednesday. Bit of alliteration for you, Grizzly. Good to see you, my good friend. How have you been recently, mate? I mean, it's been a little bit hot in here in Perth. I hope you've been keeping relatively cool.
Absolutely cooking. I've been going really well, Cap. 2022, mate. Big things happening in 2022. Yeah, cannot complain at all. Nice
What's
to be
your New Year's resolo, mate? What's the number one?
I haven't landed on anything yet, mate. I don't think. I mean, actually, that's a lie. A couple. I obviously really enjoy making content, so I'm hoping to grow the OGR podcast as much as we can. So working alongside yourself and Pat.
I'm actually a little bit busy, sorry.
Yeah, me too, mate. Yeah. But we can fit it in our schedules, right? Surely, Cap.
Oh, look, I could probably squeeze you in, mate.
Can you redo the chest wax while you're there, Cap? What do you reckon, mate?
Oh, absolutely, mate. I'll do that any weekend you want me to. Inflicting immense pain on me all, mate, Grizzly. Love it. Good fun.
What about you, mate? Any New Year's resolutions, Cap? Any New Year's resolutions for you?
I actually want to cook more at home. That's going to be my big one. You know, cooking more at home. I started a bit of a fitness journey last year. Had a couple of weeks off, and I'm really paying for it post holidays. But I think the big ones for me is definitely going to be, you know, hitting those goals. You know, chasing those gains. And I'm also very, very keen to cook a little bit more. Got a little bit lazy towards the end of the year last year. A lot of it was kind of me trying to do a bit of calorie counting and stuff like that. So we kind of did like the microwavable meals thing, which wasn't too bad. But yeah.
I tell you what, like, it's really hard, man. And I find, like, I like how you've got cooking as one of your number ones. Is I kind of went the opposite way towards the end of the last year, and I got on the light and easy, which is like the reverse cooking. It's like you get microwave meals, but they're kind of healthy-ish, and then they plan your meals out for you. I actually found that to be quite good. But yeah, cooking is a good one, man. It's so hard to, like, you need to, if you're not planning your meals, I feel like you're just going to fall on your face before you even get there.
Absolutely. But I think it's also just like I want to be a little bit more creative with my meals. You know what I mean? Get that creativity juice flowing. Okay,
so that's going to be the idea. Talk me through one of creative meals, then, Cap. Tell me what is a creative meal? Okay.
Well, mate, I've got to start that journey first to find that out. Well, you know, it's just the kind of thing where I want to be like, okay, I know I've got that in the fridge, and I've got a couple of those, and if I chuck them together, I can make a tagine or I don't fucking know, like some fancy meal, you know, and just have a little bit of a repertoire going rather than just going, oh, I'm just going to go down to, you know, grab some, you know, basic, you know, cut of chicken or something, and then just chuck that in and do a really basic salad.
I've got 3 meals, mate, so I should probably have the same. I just do want to say, though, that I reckon, like, the new year in general is such a good kick in the ass to help you, to give you a kick in the ass to try to achieve some of the goals that you want to achieve, for sure. So I've signed myself up to a gym start of the year, and I've pretty much overhauled a lot of stuff in my life to give me a better sleep schedule. And man, I'm feeling like this is the most fresh that I've felt in probably months, just because I'm getting the 8 hours a night that I'm supposed to get. It's made a really good
absolutely difference. I think since I started, and we'll get into the gaming chat in a second, guys. But look, I feel like ever since I went full time with my new role and I required more sleep and I started going to bed earlier, it's just crazy what that's done for me mentally, especially. Like, I feel like my mental health has been better than it's been in many years, and I attribute that to getting my fitness started, watching what I'm eating, and, you know, just kind of maintaining my sleep schedule and trying to have some kind of sleep hygiene has been really important for me.
100%, mate. 100%.
But Grizzo, speaking of hitting some goals, I mean, it'd be a little bit hilarious if we didn't cover potentially maybe the biggest gaming news story I would say maybe even in the last decade. I think
Yeah.
this is fucking huge. When I read this morning, my fucking gob was on the floor. I couldn't believe what I was reading.
Well, it's a godsend for us, Cap, because we were going to sit here and talk about cornbread and condoms if this big piece of news didn't come along.
Well,
So
we still got that as a backup topic. But so obviously, for those of you unaware, Microsoft has recently acquired and is in the process of acquiring Activision Blizzard King, the AKB conglomerate, for $70 billion fucking dollars.
So it just sounds like you're making that up. Like $70 billion is just an outrageous amount of money.
It is, but I mean, who else has that kind of money? Let's be honest. It's Microsoft, you know. I mean, when I first read the headline, it kind of almost didn't seem. It was like, what fucking alternate reality am I living in? You know what I mean?
Just to spell it out a little bit for you. So it was actually based. So the market cap of Activision Blizzard was $58 billion at the time of the sale, and Microsoft has basically added 69, oh my God, percent on top of that at $95 a share to land on that price. Jesus. So they've done pretty well out of it. They have, I mean, the thing about it is, Cap, and I'm sure we're going to get to this later, but the stock price for Activision Blizzard had, since 2020, taken a little bit of a downward turn.
Well, absolutely. And again, for those of you who aren't aware of what's been happening with Activision Blizzard, just to paint a very short picture of the atrocities that's been going on in that company, essentially upper management and below, some really shady shit going down, a lot of sexual harassment claims being made, claims not being taken seriously, all kinds of things like lives being lost as well. So some pretty hectic shit going on in that company.
Physical lawsuit as well, isn't there, Cap? I believe
they're being sued by the state of California, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So, this is like coming back to the fact that they've been acquired since. Obviously, they've had a massive falling out with their share price. They've been under huge amounts of scrutiny for good reason. But on top of that, like, it's hard to believe that anyone would want to pick them up, really. You know what I mean? And obviously, on top of that, because of all this scrutiny and stuff they've been under, it's pretty clear that they've kind of delayed a lot of their major titles to what I would assume would be delay as much as possible, and make sure that when they release these games, maybe the Eye of Sauron has kind of moved away from their kind of their general vicinity, so they can kind of go and release those without scrutiny further.
Question to you, Cap: do you think Blizzard and Activision have actively known about potentially being bought out for a long period of time?
I think so, for sure.
There's game delays and other bits and pieces that just keep pushing.
I don't know if the acquisition was definitely related to that. It might have been. I think the the delays in games and stuff, I think is most certainly probably a PR thing to try and save a little bit of face and ensure that they release those titles when there's a bit more popularity for the company in general, which, I mean, it's hard to believe that could even happen. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think, personally, I actually was thinking about this morning. I was thinking, like, of the people who have money that could afford to buy Activision, I think Microsoft's probably the people I could perceive as me wanting them to own it, if that makes sense.
Oh, 100%.
They're not perfect. They're not a clean slate or anything. They do shitty stuff as well. But I think ultimately they are, like, when I read it, I was just like, yes, well, fix that fucking company.
Yeah, they're going to have the money to back a lot of these fantastic titles. And I think maybe before we dive too deep, we do just touch on exactly what this acquisition has encapsulated. So some of the big name titles that you would know are Overwatch, the whole Diablo franchise, Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, Candy Crush.
That's the big one for me.
That's the big one. Yeah,
Candy Crush MMO when?
Are you looking forward to playing Candy Crush 144 hertz and on your gaming PC, mate?
Dude, I want freaking ray trace Candy Crush, my friend. I want to see those freaking little candy tots in high def, baby. You know, I want to be able to play. I don't even know what the game is. I've never played Candy Crush in my life. Have you played it before?
I have. It's actually not too bad, man. There was a period of time there where it was like the top downloaded. It might still be. It was like the top downloaded mobile game. And
yeah, I remember
there's
that.
like a storyline, but seriously, man, there is so many freaking levels, and they get really hard towards the end. You can just keep playing forever, like little DLCs and stuff that they keep adding in there. Just
Candy Crush is the poor man's Bejeweled. I think that's a great way to put it, Jim. Yeah, okay, so that's the kind of game it is. Well, I wasn't quite aware, to be honest, but I mean, those IPs are so freaking iconic, Grizz, and for Microsoft to have their hand on them, I just think is amazing. Personally,
there is. I guess it'd be worthwhile touching on the studios as well. There's so many studios that they've acquired as part of this as well.
I mean, under the banner of those guys, like it's insane. Like there's a bunch of different studios and even like IP specific studios that work for certain different IPs, different games within that umbrella. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
I've got Treyarch, Raven, High Moon, Beanox, Sledgehammer, Infinity War, Demonware, and Toys for Bob are a small fraction of those that operate under the Microsoft Activision banner that
absolutely
are
massive.
And the question is like it's just a huge acquisition in terms of, I mean, it's just quite groundbreaking, I think, in terms of.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, like I said earlier, I think this is honestly like probably one of the biggest news stories to have ever really come out about gaming related, obviously, especially structurally in terms of like businesses, probably in the last decade. But what I think is interesting is I don't think anyone had a sniff of this. You know, it was such a fucking well-kept secret. Like, it just exploded. The minute it went live, it exploded. My news feed just went bang, like just instant. There was nothing, not even like, there's a lot of like games journos that often get kind of like insider scoops and stuff like that. One guy I'm thinking of is the guy from Kotaku. I always mispronounce his name, but it's Jason Schreier or something like that. He normally gets the inside scoop super early. He was straight in there at the same time as everyone else. Like, but you got to think about it, Grizz. Like, there would have been so many people working on this deal, and just no one said
to not have
a single word.
Anything, mate. Yeah, it's insane.
How? I would be like, you won't fucking believe this, but
I think it was back in 1998 when the Korn album got leaked by some random dude on LimeWire. Surely someone has some insider knowledge about.
Well, that's what I mean. It makes me wonder, like, I mean, are they greasing palms with a little bit of cash to try and get people to shut the hell up? I don't know. Maybe they're just getting paid really well, but super interesting. But on the same topic of this acquisition, it's been interesting to see some of the things that Phil Spencer has been saying about the acquisition. So for those of you who don't know who...
Yeah, you're about to tell me.
You're about
to answer my question.
CEO of the gaming leg of Microsoft, essentially. Okay. So he's Mr. Xbox, right? So you probably would notice him from the what do you call it, the E3 convention and all the Xbox kind of presentations and stuff like that. So you'd know who he was when you saw him. But I'm going to very loosely paraphrase this, but recently he was kind of asked about what he thought about Activision Blizzard and stuff, and he basically said something along the lines of we're reevaluating our relationship with ABK, and it's like you were fucking reevaluating it to the point where you're just going to fucking buy him. Like, it's just the most, I must have been thinking at the time, he's like, yes, well, yes. And he obviously didn't want to say too much about them at all because they were going to buy them in the end, right? So he's just said this
very tight-lipped. Like, it's interesting to, I don't know if you read, I assume that this is from, is his name Phil Spence? Is that what you say, Cap? But I read I read the Microsoft announcement about it, and there was a fair bit of jargon about their work culture and ethics.
About Microsoft's or about ABK?
About Microsoft's
Right. Okay.
and that they were going to look after employees that are coming across and other bits and pieces. I'd love to bring that article up, but I found that particular thing being quite interesting because obviously there has been that ongoing controversy, and we know that there's still some of the management within Activision Blizzard that are still
Absolutely. And that's something interesting to bring up because it was, as all the ABK stuff was coming out and all these sexual harassment claims were sort of coming to light, it was kind of apparent that, well, at least to me, that not an awful lot was being said by Bobby Coddick, who is the guy who runs Activision. Now, he basically, I would say, got away with a lot. It kind of slowly came out that there was a few reports about some of his past behaviors, a lot of them being just like really poor work practices and just being like an absolute fucking asshole, essentially, which doesn't surprise me. He looks like a literal fucking goblin. So, like, at the end of the day, he is getting away with this now scot-free as far as I'm concerned, because what they're going to do is not only is he going to get a gigantic fucking payout, because part of his contractual obligations and terms is that if he gets let go, even at his fault, he still makes like $200 and something million, like $250 million bucks. And if he gets let go because of acquisition or anything like that, it's like something like $280 million. It's just absolutely absurd. And so now he gets to walk away from this dumpster fire that has been left in his wake, you know, with all this other bullshit that's been happening at Activision. And he just goes, yeah, well, we were bought out and someone took my place, bugger. You know, like he doesn't get to do the walk of shame, you know, which really pisses me off.
100%. And this is the same. There's articles about Coddick around, you know, public cries for his resignation and other bits and pieces. And then
absolutely.
In an article that was released today, Coddick's come out saying that he felt really positive about the situation.
I bet he did.
And that the two companies shared similar values and cultures as well.
Oh,
which
God.
is just like, come on, mate.
Shut up. Oh, my God. Is this CEO jargon, like, just, you know, saving face, like, always the optimist, just completely lying in all of their... Well, not every single CEO, but you know, it's just that whole that kind of shit where you just hear that and you just go, "You were such a fucking liar." Anyways, he's an arsehole. But yeah, so Blizzard acquired by Microsoft, Blizzard Activision King, for $68 billion. Amazing.
Nuts. Question to you, Cap, and probably a question to listeners. I know that we haven't got a poll function anywhere yet, but after hearing the acquisition today or now or whenever you have heard it, if you had a choice to own a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox, what would you pick?
Yeah, I think... Do you know what? And I'm going to metagame this one personally and just give you my opinion because you're here, so you must want something about my opinion. So, but if I was going to metagame this and I had to choose one, I'd just get a PS5 and then have a PC, because then I'll have everything on the PC.
Yeah, true. Oh, and I mean, this comes back to kind of this question that I'm asking you with underlying themes that sit behind this, right, Cap? What happens to the existing Activision Blizzard games that are on PlayStation 5? Things like...
Well, that's going to be an interesting thing.
Yeah.
I would say, personally, I reckon what will happen is anything that's still on there will stay on there. I think Microsoft have been they're pretty good bros like that. I don't think they're going to pull the rug out from underneath anyone and be like, oh, well, we own that now, so it's not going to be on your console. But I think any new stuff, you might see timed exclusivity on consoles.
Okay.
I reckon that they're not silly enough to close themselves out of a market because I mean, I think gaming as an ecosystem, right? Yeah, I think timed exclusives is probably what you'll see a lot of. I don't think you'll see too many major exclusives. See, another problem is, right, because of the I guess you don't want to breed a resentment for Microsoft because you're starting to put these games that have been kind of well known to be across certain different platforms, and people who love Blizzard games and want to play them on their console of choice. You don't want to breed resentment from your audience because you are suddenly not allowing those games to be elsewhere. So I would think probably they will still have those games on all the other different consoles. They'll still come to those consoles next gen. It might be timed exclusivity though.
Yeah. And one thing that I would worry about, I mean, I've got a PC, so I'm probably going to be playing these games on PC anyway, but I can totally understand, right? PlayStation, for example, Diablo 4 coming out, Cap. You know, the Diablo games are on Switch, they're on PlayStation 4, and they work very well on those. I would be, well, like you say, maybe timed exclusivity on those on Xbox, Microsoft, and then they can come to a broader. Yeah. But that's a shame.
Actually, just as a quick side note, Jim's made a good point that I completely forgot about. But so another big acquisition that happened a while back was obviously Bethesda by Microsoft. Now, new IP that they've got coming out is Starfield, and that's actually only going to be PC and Xbox, no PlayStation. So maybe they will. I don't know. Maybe what I just said is complete and utter garbage. But I don't know. It's hard for me to believe that. So, for example, Diablo 4 wouldn't be on multiple consoles.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I guess it all comes down to money as well. Like it depends on what they're going to be earning from doing cross-platform.
Will it sell more consoles for them? Maybe. Who knows? Yeah. I think probably the most interesting thing for me, though, Grizz, is how this all fits in with Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah.
So, Phil Spencer has expressively said that they're going to be working on bringing as many of those titles to the Game Pass as they can within reason. Obviously, I think that kind of comment to me maybe makes it sound as if, because I was like, when this first hit, I was just like, holy shit! Imagine if World of Warcraft, the subscription, everything was bundled into your Xbox Game Pass. And I was like, I am super fucking on board for that because I already have an Xbox Game Pass. So, but I think that kind of probably implies that you're probably not going to see a game like that on the Game Pass. Maybe it might be.
You don't
this
reckon?
Is another thing. Well, I don't look. I think for me personally, I mean, I can only imagine what World of Warcraft's running costs are, right? Like it must be fucking the server costs must be astronomical. So they need to obviously get some kind of money back with the subscription, which I totally understand in terms of like an economical thing. So maybe it might be like an add-on thing that you can add on to your Game Pass.
I think it'll depend, Cap, on whether if they moved WoW to Game Pass, how many people they can bring across that will just get Game Pass to play WoW. Because I want to point something out here. I've got a stat here from Game Rant. So active users in 2017 for World of Warcraft, they had 46 million subs. World of Warcraft.
How much was that? 2014, was it?
2017.
17, sorry.
I don't even know whether that was the peak. So what was that? What content would that have been?
17 would have to be Legion or something like that.
As of second quarter 2021, literally half of the numbers, 26 million, which is still a lot. But I would imagine that the decision to have, say, a game like World of Warcraft that has a subscription fee associated with the game itself would be based on whether they think they can bring the existing player base off to join Xbox Game Pass, saying, hey, bring your WoW subs across and you also get access to all this stuff too. And that's they can increase that sub number up as well.
Like the value added is out of control if they start bundling shit like that in. Like,
oh man,
maybe even if they, I don't know. I mean, so the thing is, I think WoW might be free. I can't quite remember. So I played a lot of WoW in my day, and then they've changed the way the model works for a couple of times. But I'm pretty sure you can basically play everything except for the most recent content for free. I think.
Okay. Yeah, so you can level up to a certain level or something and play most of it for free, can you? Is that the way it happens? Or?
I think you can basically level up to whatever the max of the previous expansion was, and then if you want to continue playing, you have to buy the new content.
So one of the fears that I have, Cap, right, is that this is a
maybe I'm
very
wrong.
timely announcement for them to acquire Activision Blizzard for the Game Pass, because we have just heard that there is going to be a PlayStation Game Pass, and I feel like
Well, hang on. We don't know for sure. There's been a lot of rumblings, and
Yeah, a
some
lot
of
of
the things that
rumbling.
they've been doing is like pulling things off the shelf. Like I think in Europe or somewhere, they've pulled like the PlayStation Now cards out of retailers, which might suggest that perhaps there's something in the works. But you're right.
Either way, what I
It's
want to get at
interesting
right
timing.
now is they have rarely secured. I mean, they're already killing it with the Game Pass. They've got 25 million subscribers on Game Pass at the moment.
Is that for Xbox?
Yeah, that is the Xbox Game
Holy
Pass.
shit.
25 million subscribers on the Game Pass. And it
That's
is
probably more subs than World of Warcraft at
well,
the moment.
if we have a look at the stats, what did I say? 2021, 26 million in second quarter 2021. So it's getting up there.
I didn't know that they were releasing the stats, to be honest, because I vaguely remember WoW saying, we're not going to release these stats. They don't mean anything. They're not that important, because obviously the stats were going... So, especially like after, I think Battle, so they had a really strong hit with Legion. Everyone came back for that. Battle for Azeroth kind of shit the bed a little bit. And then I think into Shadowlands, that trend kind of kept going. Anyways, sorry to detract from that. But
no, you're fine, mate. No. What I was getting at is when you got a company that has a lot of power, that is doing really well, that is buying the smaller companies or companies that they think that they can acquire, you end up with one company that owns a lot of stuff, that has a lot of ability, almost like a monopoly, to
absolutely
be able to maintain and change the prices of things. How do you feel? What do you think this is going to impact in the long run on us gamers in a negative way in terms of monetization and things? Game Pass?
I don't really know. Like one thing that I'm not entirely sure. It'll be interesting to see what. So this is another thing. Is with Sony maybe bringing out their own version of Game Pass, is
Game Pass,
how,
yep, got it.
So how do they, like, what do they provide, especially now? Like that bar is being put so much fucking higher now that Microsoft's gone and done that. Like I don't like, obviously. PlayStation so this is the thing. What are they going to put on the Game Pass, right? Are they going to do the same thing and just get heaps of different indies in there, chuck a bunch of those on? Do they still include their main IPs? Because Sony loves to charge you a lot of money for the IPs that they have lovingly crafted and are exclusive to their console, because that's obviously how they make their money. I just cannot see that whatever Game Pass that they bring out, including their main IPs that get released day one, like Microsoft does, I just cannot fucking see it, because I just think they are so, their claws are so, they just want that $80 fucking, that 90. How much are PS5 games these days? Like $100 bucks?
Dude. 100
Australian?
No, man, 100. I played over 100 for Eternal. But Kat, I just want to point something out to you right now, that PlayStation already has a fucking Game Pass, essentially, in PlayStation Plus. It's slightly different, but you pay a monthly subscription. They give you a couple of free games or a free game that you then have in your library if you stay subscribed.
I can just honestly, oh my god,
I would not be surprised if they rebrand what they've already got and try to include a couple more games in there to make it. Because
it's kind of like, you know that meme. It's like, Mom, I want Xbox Game Pass. It's like, we've got Xbox Game Pass at home. It's the fucking PS Now, fucking. It's got like 3 games coming out. You know. It's like, honestly, I think like I just think their business structure, and also, I mean, Sony doesn't have as much money as what Microsoft would have, I would assume. I mean, they probably wouldn't have, $70-odd billion to just go and drop down on ABK, for example. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if they could actually acquire. Maybe they could. Maybe I have no idea. I don't know what their market share is like. But
I think one of the biggest reasons for me and you, while we probably not that interested in a PlayStation Game Pass, is because it's only going to give us PlayStation games, where, like you were saying before, the Xbox Game Pass is going to give you access to the PC titles as well as the Xbox titles for those games. And I don't even have an Xbox, but I've got an Xbox Games Pass because the value is just too good. So, I mean, we asked very slowly, and I had this discussion in our Dad Bod chat today. that PlayStation seemed to be slowly opening up to the idea around releasing some of their games on PC. We had God of War and
Horizon.
Horizon Zero Dawn just recently come to PC.
Did
And
Days Dawn
maybe-
come out on PC?
Potentially,
Probably
or
not.
It is going to.
Might be.
So look, maybe there comes a point in
Oh, no, it
time,
is.
Cap, where a year or a year and a half down the track, and PlayStation end up having a model where you get access to things like God of War and all those great PlayStation exclusives on PC through a Game Pass or a PlayStation Pass or whatever it is that may be. Then maybe they can contend. But for now,
All right.
I don't know.
Here's another alternate universe for you, Grizz, that I'm going to propose, right? Clearly, right, the lines are being drawn in the sand, right? And Microsoft has gone to the beach and they've fucking drawn a giant fucking line that basically takes up most of the fucking beach, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who else can draw another line next to Microsoft? Amazon, baby. Imagine if Amazon bought fucking Sony and they did their own shit.
Dang, dude, you're actually
That's the only thing I can think that might, and then we'd have this massive fucking subscription war, because that's the only company I could see that could possibly contend with Microsoft in that kind of market share.
Dude, Microsoft need to make a streaming service. Like, I'm talking about a Twitch equivalent. They did?
They did. It was called Mixer, and it fucking died, mate. That's how good it was. It's so good you fucking forgot about. Yeah.
They need to
make a console as well, mate. They'd be fucking great.
Yeah, that's true.
An operating system might be a good idea for them as well. But yeah, I don't know. I think it'll be interesting.
You're totally right there, man. The big players. Well, I don't know. Like, Cap, I have always. All right, I'm going to ask you right now. Answer me straight, Cap. All right.
I'll
beat around the bush. PlayStation or Xbox? Where do you lie?
See, I think my spirit animal is Xbox, but I prefer the PlayStation.
Yeah,
because I feel like I can really get on with a lot of like Microsoft's value, especially these days. Get on board with a lot of their values. They seem to be very like gamer first. They kind of want to do the right thing by the consumer, which is pretty fucking rare for a company of that size. Whereas Sony, I love so many of Sony's games, and their exclusives are just incredible. I mean, look at God of War, like what a fucking masterpiece, like. So I don't know. I think it's a tough one for me. What about you? Where do you sway on that?
Well, I am definitely Sony, 100%. Well, actually, I'm Nintendo, but we're not talking about Nintendo. We're talking about Xbox versus Sony.
Well, here we go. What the hell did Nintendo do?
I just want to really quickly address Jim's comment really quickly. He's talking about he wants Sony to have backwards compatibility. I listened to a podcast today. Apparently, that is going to be happening potentially as part of the PlayStation Now subscription, which is another fucking Game Pass.
Wait, so what's this? Say again. So what's going to be happening? Sorry.
Was it not Jim? Sorry, Jim. No, it was Sly Frost Paul. Sorry. Essentially, the question was, I would like to see Sony bring backwards compatibility for their versions. So you can basically play the back catalogs of games. So
I did see something recently about PS3 showing up somewhere in some of the things on. I don't know whether it was their marketing or it might have been their. When retailers release like barcodes and shit, and you can see like PS3 and stuff written in stuff before shit even hits the shelves, because obviously they need to know. I'm pretty sure I read something about PS3 stuff most likely coming to PS5. But yeah, you're right.
Well, apparently there's been there's actually a technical reason as to why backwards compatibility has not been so easy, which has actually been solved on the PlayStation 5.
I mean, let's have a look at like the recent fucking Nintendo 64 console on the Switch. Have you seen some of the like the reviews of like some of the old N64 games running on Switch?
they framey and shit, or what's the
Oh
vibe?
yeah, like the textures are gross. Like just so I'm pretty sure Ocarina of Time. If you know when you finish the water temple and you fight Dark Link at the end of the water temple. You ever play that game?
Yeah, I did. Yep,
Yeah,
but I can't
yeah.
remember it very well.
You
But
go
yeah, I'm
into
trying
like
to.
this mirror world, and there's like this Dark Link guy that you fight. So all the
Oh yeah, I
textures
do
in there
remember
are
that.
just
Yeah.
horrifically shit, like really bad, and it's just like a really bad what do you call it, emulator problem. So yeah, I'm not surprised there's technical issues with getting older games onto some of these consoles. But you'd
Oh, I
think, I
mean,
don't know.
look at us now. Like for all of us retro nerds and people that like to play Super Mario World, to get a machine to play it as well as the originals did costs you a lot of money to play it on
Absolutely,
HD. So
yeah,
yeah, totally understand that for sure. Now
yeah.
I sidetracked you there, Cap. What were you going to be talking about, mate? I
Well,
completely.
I don't know. I mean, can you perceive Nintendo
Hmm.
doing anything to? I
Oh,
mean, obviously they're kind of doing the what do they call their weird little kind of
Nintendo
offering at the expansion
Online.
pack or something. I think
Oh,
is what they call it, and you get the retro games with it, and that's kind
yeah.
of their thing.
Hmm.
And they alternate the different retro titles through their catalog or something like that.
Don't they give you access to free Super Nintendo games on your Switch when you buy the Switch online? Is that something that you
I
get as
think so,
well?
yeah. And also, I'm pretty sure that actually it looks pretty cool. Like from memory, I believe that they kind of change the games up a little bit or add leaderboards and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. Like I think that's a pretty rad thing to do. But I mean, can you perceive them actually? Because I don't know. I always feel like Nintendo just lives in their own little fucking bubble off in Japan, and they do not give a shit what anyone
Yeah.
else does. We're gonna do it our way. Fuck you all. Like it's clearly working for us because we make a
Mm.
shitload of money. You know what I
I,
mean?
I feel like Nintendo's almost separate from the conversation we're having around
Yeah,
Microsoft
absolutely.
PlayStation. I feel like that I mean, the proof is in the pudding. If I went and grabbed my Switch games right now, put them back in and sold them for secondhand, you can sell them for like nearly the price that you bought them for. Like
Yeah,
the Nintendo Switch games just do not age, and they're expensive, and people will buy them because they're good
yeah.
games.
Yeah, it's almost like I feel like Nintendo kind of commands that price
Mm.
because like for example, if you go into like an EB Games or something like that, you go and have a look at some of the newer titles that come out on like Xbox and PlayStation, and like they do decay in price over time. Whereas I feel like it's almost like buying an Apple device. When you buy something from Nintendo, it's like this is the price, it will always be this price, and you will
Yeah.
buy it for that price, and that is
Yeah.
what we're selling it for. Thank you
Well,
very much. And you're like, okay, take my money.
and I think once they start setting the expectation that you can get stuff for cheaper, or say if they have a Game Pass or something, then they might actually lose a bit of their credibility and ability to sell full price games. Once you set that example, they've just got
Yeah,
it really good. People are going to buy Nintendo games. I
yeah.
feel like they just do really well. Yeah.
God, yeah, it's a crazy world we live in at the moment, Grizz, and I think obviously this
Yes.
acquisition has been like, I don't know, explosive, literally explosive.
One thing that I wanted to touch on, Cap, that we haven't got to yet, but is the development of the ongoing games under Activision Blizzard. And what are your thoughts on the actual development direction of those games? Do you think that it's going to be a breath of fresh air into some of these games, like WoW, Call of Duty, and those particular games? Or do you think they're just going to
Look,
keep their stuff the same and keep trucking?
I think that Microsoft has a pretty good track record in recent years of being pretty hands off with the developers it requires. I think they'll continue to do that. I think they might try and light the fire under developers if they're taking. Well, I don't know. I mean, it'll be a business thing, right? I think they will push them if they need to be pushed. Obviously, I think probably the biggest thing is I think there'll be quite a because there's been a lot of reports of like really low morale in ABK development studios for obvious reasons. Like they feel like they're not being looked after, they're being hard done by, not being listened to, which they're not. I think, if anything, this will give a real morale boost to those developers who desperately fucking need it, and I think it will help them to produce really fucking awesome games, which is rad. And I hope that they can address these problems and nip in the bud whatever the has happened in these development studios.
There's a couple of things that I want to talk about. First one being that Xbox has now got 2 titans of first-person shooters, with the Call of Duty coming across, and they've got the Halo games under their banner as well. And now Overwatch as well. So, like, absolute titans. But I feel like, and I don't play a heap of shooters, so this is just me kind of speculating here, but I feel like the Call of Duty, they pump out one a year, and I feel like Vanguard was decent, but I wonder if I do wonder whether I mean, by the way, it's going to take a year for the merger to all come to fruition, so it's probably a couple of years down the track. But I wonder if they're going to give some of these games a little bit more time in the oven to
I hope so,
and I don't know, result in better games.
Look, I mean, I know you said Vanguard was decent, but I mean, Vanguard had a lot of issues, just like the more recent Battlefield game as well. Like, and those are issues that could have probably been ironed out with a bit more time in the oven, like you said. You know, 1 year to turn around. I mean, obviously they don't take a year to make these video games. It's not how it works. They obviously they kind of, you know, they have like a staggered start between where they start the game. One comes out, and the other one that's going to come out the next year has already been in production for however long. But I would think, I don't know. It's kind of, I mean, Call of Duty is a completely different beast, right? I think personally, probably what they're going to be doing is moving Call of Duty maybe to a more kind of, I'm going to use this as a really shitty term, because it doesn't really make an awful lot of sense, but hopefully it'll give you the kind of like encapsulating thought I'm trying to, you know, express here is Fortnite. Fortnite is a platform, right? And they keep iterating on Fortnite.
It's a gaming experience, Cap.
Yeah, it's a game. It's a lifestyle, you know. So I think that Call of Duty will slowly evolve into what is now that Warzone kind of platform. I think they'll probably maybe stop making major Call of Duties eventually. Maybe I'm fucking wrong. Maybe I'm just talking out of my ass. Do people even play those campaigns anymore? I don't even know. I feel like they just get them for the multiplayer.
Yeah, I definitely would.
I would love to see some stats on that.
Me too. And Kat, we talked about this last time, right? We feel like World of Warcraft fell on its ass a bit and lost obviously a lot of subscribers. People moving across to Final Fantasy. Do you feel like they're going to try to make any drastic changes to World of Warcraft to breathe new life into that game? Do you think there's anything that they can do, or do you think there's
do you know what? I think World of Warcraft is in a real scary spot, because I think that they need new content stat, but I personally don't think they probably have much in the chamber ready to fire out.
Yeah.
And I think that was only made worse by what's happened recently at ABK. I think that has perpetuated things. I worry to think where WoW might be in the next 2 years. Like, I would assume they've probably got another expansion in the works. Will it iterate enough on the overall game to actually be interesting? Who fucking knows? Who fucking knows? I think what's happened recently is going to make it really difficult for them.
Oh, 100%. If someone tapped you in the shoulder and said, "Hey, Grizz, in a year, mate, your company's going to be bought out, but we just want you to sit there and just keep working on that, but we don't know what your job's going to be like in a year," I'm going to basically, I don't know, I might just sit there and watch Twitch all day and listen to podcasts rather than actually do proper work. I would imagine. Well, it's been announced, right? It's been announced it's going to happen, but they've now gone and said, before it all comes to fruition, we've got 18 months or whatever it is, and we're expecting that the studios themselves will keep operating as they operate. I think it's going to be a pretty challenging time, mate, to see the content coming out for some of these.
Look, it'll definitely be interesting to see what happens with World of Warcraft. Like, I think I can't see them doing much in terms of changing it up all that much. Only reason I say that is because, like, World of Warcraft is a tried and true
Yeah.
IP. You know, people play World of Warcraft because there's nothing really like World of Warcraft out there. There isn't. I mean, there's options. You know, you might argue that Final Fantasy Online's pretty close. It's not, but it's pretty close. But there's only one World of Warcraft, right? I think they'll like, and that has got to be worth some kind of money, right? And I'm sure it brings in some kind of money. I think they will probably just let that game keep ticking over. I would imagine that. I would be very surprised if we don't see more Warcraft-themed IPs in the future. So this is another thing, right, Chris?
Oh man, how good would that be? Like,
do you know what I want to see? On top of that, I just like, so League of Legends obviously released a hugely successful Netflix series recently.
Okay.
I can't believe that Blizzard hasn't done this yet. Like, how have they not given their IP to some fucking awesome studio and made something really fucking radical for Netflix? Like, look at Dota. Dota's done the same thing. How have they not given Overwatch to Netflix? How have they not given World of Warcraft to Amazon to go and make a sick series TV show? It's just like, I just feel like there's so much they can do with this IP.
World of Warcraft had that really B-grade shitty movie, though.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. That's how Blizzard always tackles things. It's like they just never do it right. And it's like, because I think they put too much emphasis on them being at the helm. They just need to give it to someone. Let a studio just fucking knock it out of the park, like League of Legends did. Apparently, I haven't seen it yet, but apparently, what's it called?
It's a lot of hype. Someone's going to tell us.
Arcane. It's called Arcane. Arcane
yep.
is amazing, right? I've heard it is amazing. The animation, everything to go with it is just an incredibly emotive story. They've done a really good job of like characterization of all the different characters that come out of that game. And it to the point where people who have never played League before watch that and then become League players. You know what I mean? So they're really capitalizing on their IP. Blizzard's never been able to do it properly. They have these incredible fucking in-game cinematics, and they just cannot do anything with it properly. And it's like, it just blows my damn mind.
Not only that, Cap, but I also feel other game IPs using the World of Warcraft kind of world. So we started with the Warcraft 1, 2, 3, those top-down RTS, and we've got World of Warcraft. Do you think there's like... Oh, actually, I lie. Heroes of the Storm. Heroes of the Storm was probably...
Which I really liked. I really liked Heroes.
Oh, man. Is there potential that we're going to see like crossover of the now Blizzard IPs into other Microsoft-related games? Is there going to be... Do you think you can buy like the... Is there going to be some kind of crossover potential?
I think if like Heroes of the Storm was still cranking, they probably would. But like, I don't think Heroes is doing particularly well. Like they dismantled their esport, brackets and everything because it wasn't being watched much. And I would assume that their player base is pretty small. Unfortunately, I mean, I think it's a really nice game. I think it's a good introductory kind of. What do you call it? MOBA?
I want to say something here, Cap. They Blizzarded it. Blizzard went through this big period where they wanted to simplify their games to allow accessibility across anyone to be able to play it. To me, it's kind of like Pokemon Unite, but not quite as simple. But I mean, those of us that play MOBAs like League of Legends, Dota, Heroes of the Storm, or not Heroes of the Storm. What was that one I'm trying to think of? The pre-Dota one. Heroes of New Earth. I felt like it was when Diablo 3 came out, it had the same issue. A lot of people that came from Diablo 2 felt like it was very simplified. World of Warcraft is kind of the same with the new content.
But don't you reckon like there's a lot of developers suffering that same fate? Like I would point like wholeheartedly to Bethesda. Like if you look at the progression of Elder Scrolls games from Morrowind to Skyrim, they become more and more brain dead as you go along, in my opinion. And even the story is pathetic.
Well, do you think
that's definitely a me opinion? I know that's not the case. A lot of people love those games, but
question to you. Do you think making a game more accessible in difficulty and complexity would make the company more money than sticking to the roots and having difficult
It depends.
Game mechanics?
I think it completely depends on the game. I'm all for accessibility, by the way. Like I think if there's any way that you can make your game accessible, you should, especially kind of bringing games to different platforms for people with, you know, limited ability here and there, or, you know, wherever it is. Ultimately, I think it's a very difficult kind of you know, it's a difficult, you know, dial to come in on. Like, I mean, look at From Software. They have made, you know, arguably some of the most difficult games in history. You know, and they're killing it, you know. Whereas, I mean, Skyrim, probably what I would say would be a fairly, you know, Elder Scrolls light, and they've released it on just about every console that's ever existed. They've obviously had a huge market share on that kind of RPG kind of thing. You know, thousands, maybe, you know, hundreds of thousands of different mods. You know, like, it's got a really strong support base. I think
I've kind of changed my tune a little bit on the accessibility piece, Cap. Probably over the last 6 months or so. I have no issues with accessibility as long as the option is still there for you to be able to play the game where you want to play it at. So kind of what I'm getting at. Like, I don't want my game to be oversimplified and then me to not have the option to see all the stats and all the.
Do you know what? I would roll that back a little bit for like how I feel about it. I think accessibility is really important in video games, and you should try and do it where you can. But I don't think that you should feel the need to include accessibility, especially if it's going to affect your vision for your video game. So the reason I say that is because I believe video games are an art form. And so if you have a certain vision for a video game and you go, like, for example, Dark Souls, there's no difficulty slider in Dark Souls. And the whole idea of that game is to punish you and make you feel that kind of elation when you manage to overcome a task. Now, I think having a difficulty slider completely removes that, and it does not have the same feeling for that game. The game's grittiness and its atmosphere would be, I think, worse off for having a difficulty slider, because you wouldn't feel the threat of what is going on in that game. Ultimately, I think it needs to come down to the game developers. Make the game you want to fucking make, and just fucking enjoy it. If it's not for you, it's not for you. That's fine. If you can make games more accessible, fucking do it. That's
what
great.
if you were to make Dark Souls? There's a mode in Terraria, Cap, where you can set it to creativity mode. The mobs can't attack you. You basically build, you can mine, do whatever else. What if in Dark Souls you were able to put it on creativity mode, where you could explore the areas and find the items and get the dialogues and discover the other bits and pieces, and you basically didn't fight the bosses? And I mean, I guess what I'm getting at is, I feel like, and my tune has changed on this completely, but I feel like the way Dark Souls is now is probably a little bit gatekeepery for maybe half of the people that can't be fucked, or maybe don't have the time to throw into that game. And I feel like there's quite a lot of people that are missing out on the core mechanics of the game itself. It's the lore. Well, I'm not a lore person, but the lore's amazing. Everything else that goes with it, it's amazing. Do you think that is something that could be done, where you're still kind of allowing the universe to sit there and the lore in there, but it's more of a walk around story mode?
Look, I mean, of course they could do it. They could do it. Absolutely, they could do that. But again, I just don't think it
doesn't do it.
I don't think it's going to convey what that those guys are trying to create. Like, and again, this comes back to, you know, video games are an art form. You know, they are a creative endeavor, and a lot of people want to kind of, you know, obviously produce some kind of, you know, interface with the consumer, and that interface, they're going to aim to have some kind of atmosphere and some kind of feel when you play that game. If they include something like that, it might draw away from that feeling, because you don't have those feelings of frustration, or you have those feelings of elation, again, from defeating this boss that you've been literally trying to kill for a day. You know what I mean? So I just feel like I don't really know. Like, of course they could do it, but should they do it? I don't know.
Yeah,
I think that comes down to the developer and whether they want to
make
make
it. Comes down to the developer, 100%.
I think a lot of people, you know, bitch and moan about it and say, oh, you know, oh, I can't play this game because it's too hard, and oh god, and it's like, yeah, well, you know, like, games aren't for everyone. Just like, you know, not everyone wants to go and ride a BMX bike, you know, every weekend. Like, you know, they're not going to, you know, dedicate everything to you just so you can go and ride a BMX bike because, you think the I don't know, the jumps are too big. Or I'd never ridden a fucking BMX bike in my life, so I'm just making shit up. But regardless, I just think it comes down to, not every game's made for you. That's okay. There's games that aren't made for me. I'm not going to go and play fucking, what's that Penguin game that's online for kids? It's got an audience. I'm not going to go and play that personally, and I don't expect them to go and add a Dark Souls boss to that game to make it more difficult for me to enjoy. You know what I mean?
Well, I definitely feel like Blizzard dumbed their
Island?
games down. Yeah, I feel like they tried to make
Penguin.
Club Penguin. Yeah, Club Penguin. Hey, Oi, Cap, can I talk about Game Pass a little bit more? I just wanted to touch
absolutely,
on
mate.
real quick. So
Bring it back.
All right. I feel like Game Pass. Okay, we've got Netflix, we've got Stan, we've got Binge, we've got all these things for video media that allow us to pay this once-off subscription to get access to a broad range of genres and games and bits and pieces. And I think as a company that does that, it gives them more foresight in how many people are prepared to pay for an ongoing subscription. It's almost like, when you go to a gym and you sign up for 12 months and you get a cheaper price on that, they've got oversight. They know they're going to get 50 people that are paid for 12 months or whatever else it is. What I'm getting at here is, do you think that gaming is going to turn into a similar model to what, say, Netflix, Stan, movies is, where it's
absolutely
a Game Pass
100%.
subscription fee? Yeah, I agree with you.
It already is heading that way. And like, even if you look at, so for example, here in WA, there's a local ISP provider who have recently teamed up with, is it NVIDIA, to create on-demand game streaming service. And the games are ran on their own server equipment and streamed to your like computer, so you don't have to run the games. That kind of thing is going to open up, like, it's essentially cloud gaming. So cloud gaming, I think Xbox has done the same thing with Project X Cloud. I think that's obviously the next step beyond kind of Game Pass and stuff. Game Pass is obviously just giving you, the titles and stuff. So, like, for example, this other service I was talking about, I can't remember what it's called, but it's run by Pentanet and it's run by NVIDIA, and basically, you still have to log into your Steam, you have to own the games and that kind of stuff. So I think once we marry those two things together and we have these Game Passes that all the cloud computing's done on site somewhere, and you just have a little video stream that comes into your home, all you need is basically a monitor and a controller and an internet connection. That's obviously where things are going, in my opinion.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And obviously,
and I
here is infrastructure.
I feel like in terms of an economic model for the companies, I feel like it gives them, because what happens right now is they will release a game and it's either hot or not, right? Hot, it either sells heaps of copies or they get lots of pre-orders, and sometimes they have ones that flop, for example, Anthem or whatever else it might be. I feel like having a subscription service where your game goes to gives them a lot more of a safety net, because regardless of the game that gets, stability. Regardless of whether the game that they release is shit, they know they're still going to be getting $10 from old Jimmy, because he's going to want to play Sea of Thieves on the Xbox.
But it's also good for indie developers, right? Because, like, think about this, right? Imagine developing something for 2+ years, right? And you have no fucking money coming in because you are in active development. Unless you have previous titles, you are going to have no access to cash. You have to hope that you've made enough money from, maybe, a lot of these indie developers are self-funded, right? So they self-funded for like 2+ years, or they use Kickstarter or something like that. So, if they manage to get onto one of these Game Passes, like, a lot of them say, like, it's the best thing that's ever happened, because we know we've got a stable amount of income coming for the length of time that game's going to be on that service. And it makes it really easy for a lot of these companies to kind of maintain a cash flow whilst, because obviously a lot of these indie companies, like, they have a massive spike when the game first releases. Maybe it gets a little bit of critical acclaim. So they have this massive spike and it drops right off, right? So they've made a big sum of cash, so they've got to do a really good job of trying to split that cash up evenly into the, assuming they decide to make another game, whether it be in the same series or whatever, regardless. They've got to make that cash work for the next period of development, which is insane. Imagine trying to budget for the next 2 to 3 years, dude. So having things like this is amazing for them.
Yeah, what I would love to know, Cap, is say if you had your game on Game Pass, right? And it was released, say, a couple of years before. Are you still ongoing getting paid as a developer for that game years down the track, regardless of whether your game's being played, but you're just on the Game Pass? I would love to know how.
I believe that's how it works. I believe it's. Look, maybe it changes in the future, but I'm pretty sure the whole idea is like if your game's on there, you get paid a set fee every, whatever, what do you call it, interval that is that you get paid out of, whether it be a quarter or whatever. I'm pretty sure the whole idea is that, you're obviously giving them the rights to have your game on that thing. So you kind of pay that kind of, you get paid that flat sum regularly with intervals.
Yeah.
Maybe in the future they start going, well, your game only got 3 downloads, so we're only giving you $2.20. I don't know, like how that works.
Well, I mean, there is the other thing about it that yes, you're on a Game Pass, and your game's on a Game Pass, but there is also monetization usually within the individual games on that Game Pass as well. So whether you're buying, I don't know, I'm not sure. Is this the way it works? I think you can buy like cosmetics and stuff in Sea of Thieves, which is on the Game Pass, and there's obviously monetization options within the games on Game Pass.
Well, that's probably well, maybe you're right. I don't know. I haven't played Sea of Thieves for a very long time. I don't know whether the cosmetic items in there. I thought that you could just get everything in there. Maybe I'm wrong. I didn't think they had.
I think you can still buy the currency. I think you can still buy.
Oh, okay.
Well, I think you can still buy a currency.
I think. I mean, I would assume that Microsoft would be, aware that these games have some kind of economic kind of system in them for a lot of them, and they'd just be like, whatever, we're still going to be paying you this much for whatever. I don't know whether that would really come into play. I don't think they'd expect a cut or anything like that.
Yeah, true.
I don't think that would actually be an issue to them overall. I think they'd still pay you your regular fee because you're on the Game Pass, and your own internal marketplace, you still keep operating like that.
There is a premium currency in Sea of Thieves. There you go.
Right, there is. Okay. Okay.
So I'd imagine you can. Well, it's probably not going to work for every game, but it's it's still good to know that there is monetization options for those games that are on the Game Passes, and I think maybe that's the way it is. I mean, shit, Cap, we've spent a lot of time playing Dota 2 recently, and I think
absolutely
their monetization model's great. You don't have to spend a cent on that game to have the full enjoyment. And the only reason why I do it is because I like hats.
Yeah, I mean they have the hat model from TF2, right? But I don't know, like in Dota, like the cool thing is like the skins are set by the market, not by the developer. You could have a 6 skin and you're like, dude, that is 20 cents. Fuck yeah, I'm buying that skin. Hell yeah, I'll have that. Thank you very much. Put that in my bank. And that's one thing I do like about Dota. Is
they've done very well with that. You being able to create your own skins and stuff, and a voting thing and other bits and pieces, and they kind of incorporate them.
Well, I mean, look at the most recent International, which is their annual esports event. They had was it at the International or was it the more regardless, they had that skin voting thing that the community skins go up and you choose all the skins that you like the look of, and obviously, I'm guessing that they choose one or a few examples of those skins, and then they put those out in the marketplace, and I would assume that the creators of those skins, because they're community creators, would get a cut of the money that is made off those skins, which would be rad. So yeah, but look,
I wonder whether we'll see an Epic Game Pass. Sorry to interrupt you there, Kat, but I wonder whether we'll see an Epic Game Store Game Pass, mate.
Do you know
I think we'll definitely see a PlayStation 1. But
I just can't see Epic Games really being able to compete at all. I mean, they're making a lot of money, and obviously Fortnite has made them a shitload of money, but I don't really know if they can compete on the scale that Microsoft is batting in. You know what I mean? Like I just feel like Microsoft is so fucking far out in front right now. It is insane, especially after this acquisition.
Oh, huge, mate. Absolutely huge. I think they're going to have a little bit of a monopoly in the next couple of years. I feel.
Yeah.
They're going to be positioned quite nicely. But I do really hope. So I guess just to recap, I do really hope that this acquisition is going to breathe some new life. We kind of touched on it, but into some of these games which I feel have been suffering recently at the hands of Blizzard Activision. I'm hoping that maybe a couple of years down the track that we can see some new life into these ongoing games that are going to be released for sure.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think like my hot take on this overall for the acquisition is I can't imagine a better company picking them up, and I can't believe it fucking happened. It feels like a dream. But I think we've kind of deviated across multiple topics on this one overarching topic.
Accessibility, Cap. How the hell did we get to accessibility, mate? I don't know.
That's just how we do things in here, baby. But Grizzo, another thing we wanted to touch on was GDQ. So most successful GDQ yet. Give me the stats here, baby.
So this year, GDQ was raising money for the Prevent Cancer Foundation, and they kicked a number of goals. They raised successfully $3.4 million, which is the most that an event has raised to date. It was the fastest 1 million, 1.5 million, 2 million, and 2.3 million, and 3 million raised for charity to date. So all round, Cap, I usually put aside a bit of time to watch a couple of the events held at GDQ. Mainly, obviously, we've got quite a few friends in the Kaizo community that usually are running something, and I like to go support those guys. For example, Just Cook's been on there before, and a few other guys have gone across the US and other bits and pieces to be there. So pretty dang successful. Did you watch any of the events, Cap? What were
in past years, like? Grizz, I've put a lot of time into GDQ, but ever since I've kind of started working full time, I find it very difficult to kind of watch and also work at the same time with this new role I'm in. So I basically didn't watch any this year, but I mean, I love.
Would you donate? Have you donated in the past, Cap?
I normally donate every year. Yeah. So I mean, it's this year it kind of flew under my radar because I took a bunch of time off over the holidays, and it kind of just came and went before I really had a chance to really get in there and have a good look. But I normally open it up and have a good look at the schedule and highlight a couple of things I really want to see. And I don't know. I mean,
I feel like it's just such an amazing showcase. I feel like for me, a lot of the runners and people that you see on there are not very well known, say, Twitch or YouTube personalities that have exceptional skill at one specific game, and it's just like you watch it and it's like, oh my god, like the game that you played back in your childhood, and just to watch them absolutely tear it to shreds and blitz it. I think it's just a really good event for that, finding those small unknowns that are beyond.
It's actually probably something worth touching on really quickly for those at home who are listening in and wondering what the fuck are you guys talking about. Is GDQ is Games Done Quick. So essentially, it's a annual event that takes place over in America, and a lot of people fly over to it, and a lot of gamers come in and stream them trying to break world record attempts of speed runs of particular games. Now, it goes for a full week, and there's actually two flavors of GDQ. There's AGDQ, which is around this time of year, and then there's SGDQ, which is so Awesome Games Done Quick, and then Summer Games Done Quick, which is halfway through the year. Both support different foundations. So I believe AGDQ is the Prevent Cancer Foundation, whereas Summer Games Done Quick is Doctors Without Borders, which is that's right. I can't think of the exact name, but regardless, like if you haven't had a chance to watch GDQ, go and check out the YouTube channel and go and watch a couple of runs, or even just Google, some of the best AGDQ runs or GDQ runs of all time, because some of the shit you see is crazy. Like seeing like you said before, Grizz, seeing your childhood game, torn apart.
Decimated, mate. Oh
Yeah,
my
you know,
God.
like I remember watching like the Half-Life 2 run of like a while ago, and then they're using all these like skating strats and going out of bounds, and it is kind of crazy to see these kind of different these different games just get fully shredded. Even stuff like I probably started watching GDQ. I don't know. I can't quite remember the first year I started watching it, but it would have been like probably 2015 or something like that, maybe earlier. But I mean, I remember watching, runners like Cosmic run Super Mario 64 and just thinking, holy shit,
Yeah. Yeah.
And it even opened up like what I think is quite interesting is there's a lot of these sub communities out in the wider world with games who they have these people who existed prior to Discord, which blows my damn mind. They would collaborate and try and figure out how to break these games. Like there are active efforts for speedrunners will know the extents and limits of games and know certain things are possible because they've played a game so much but maybe can't quite figure out how to do something. And so there'll be people who come in with programming knowledge or scripting knowledge and try and figure out what's going on with these games just to try and figure out how to perform certain tricks. The one that comes to mind is in Wind Waker, Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. There's a barrier in the Hyrule area under the ocean, and they knew that they could get past that barrier, and that would obviously shave a shitload of time off, but they just didn't know how to do it because it was just the way it was programmed just seemed impossible to be able to get inputs in there to get them through. And eventually they collaboratively figured out how to do it, and it was just monumental for them. So it's just interesting to see these communities. Like I personally had a little bit of time in the Dark Souls remastered /
you were doing Dark Souls 1 speedruns for a bit, weren't you?
I was, yeah. Even got a sub 1 hour run in there. All right. Thank you very much.
Hey, nice.
But even just seeing like these guys work together to try and, talk about strats, about how to do certain things, look up different routes. It's, yeah, I mean, it's an incredible thing to get a part of if you're actually interested in it. And if you are interested in it, go and check out, is it Speedruns Live? I'm trying to remember the record site, but any game you liked as a kid, you probably will be able to find it out there on Google.
There is micro communities for basically any freaking game, whether it's Marble Madness, Quackshot, Jimmy Stumps, or Sonic, whatever there is. Hey, Cap, I wanted to touch on my two favorite runs of GDQ that I put aside time to watch. I actually watched the Hades one, not live. It's actually a game that I have been playing recently, got back into, but this was part of the reason why. And I thought it was really such a interesting dynamic speed run. I think you've touched Hades or you've played Hades a little bit.
I have played Hades. Incredible game.
Yeah, really good game. So this particular was a race. It was a race, and it was the rule is basically you've got to beat the game with every weapon, but you can use any aspect or any trinkets, or basically anything that you've got access to. You can.
So does that require multiple runs?
Yeah. Yep. So runs back.
How many
to back.
weapons are there?
So you got the sword, the spear, the shield, the bow, and the gun. I think that is it.
So it's about 5 or 6 runs through that you have to do. Obviously consecutively.
Yeah, and it being a roguelite, I just found it really interesting to watch because the runners have the ability to use the different aspects of the weapons. So one runner might prefer a particular aspect of the gun, and then they're looking for particular boons from the gods. I just found it like a really good watch. Like, the guys that were talking through part of that community, they knew exactly what they're talking about. They knew exactly what boons the runners were looking for. And, will he get this? Will he get the duo here? Because there's a chance to get the duo. And it was just like, I just found it like, as a competitive game, Hades all weapon speed runs is a hoot. Good. I really enjoyed that, to watch that.
Is it because it's interesting because a lot of speed runs, obviously, they get very meta. Like, there's one particular way to, this is the fastest route and this is the way you do it. Yeah. So with a game like Hades, I assume there's a lot of, look, I've played the game, but I've played much of it. But I assume that there's a lot of different ways that you could probably approach that speed run. And obviously doing 5 consecutive runs, it would be pretty difficult to have the perfect run every time. So I would assume you kind of got to just rock and roll with what you get and then hope for the best kind of thing.
Well, there 100% is meta, and I'm taking the words out of the caster's mouth from GDQ, but essentially the world record leaderboards for the weapons had been set for a while. However, in saying that, there's one guy who's an absolute gun with one of these random, apparently slow bow aspects that can get nearly a world record time on a single weapon run using this bow that no one else can match. So I think there still is like this bit of
a bit of room to move,
what you prefer and what you think might work for you. So I found that as being really good. And the other run that I wanted to talk about is shout out to the Kaizo community once again, which those of you that don't know is Super Mario World basically reimagined being difficult. So if you did watch GDQ, you may have watched Kescade's run of Casio Mario World.
Oh, so Kes was there. That's pretty great.
Yeah, so Kescade did a run with Third World on the couch commentating, and that was just really entertaining. That is one of the hardest ROM hacks as you'll see. You guys may have seen.
Oh, it was a Casio, was it?
Yeah, Casio.
Okay.
Yeah, and he did a really good job. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if for those listening at home, and if you have never seen a Kaizo, and that's spelled Kazio, if you've never seen a Kaizo ROM hack before, just go on YouTube that, and like it's Super Mario World on steroids, and just like the tricks. There's a lot of like physics abuse and like what do they call it, hardware or whatever. I don't know, I can't remember. Regardless, it is hectic. It is like spin jumps galore, freaking using shells to jump on top of things. Like it's crazy some of the shit you see in those.
Yeah, but
in those
people
hacks.
don't realize how intricate the physics of a game that old in Super Mario World is in terms of what you can turn that into difficult platforming gameplay. But that's really what it shows off. The ability to do what you think is unimaginable. You may have found yourself scrolling across TikTok one day and you've come across this mad bloke who's like jumping off 50 shells and
his name's Grizzly Gaming 86.
Oh mate, no, it's not that. But yes, there is a whole another world for you to find this stuff. But anyway, that was one of my favorite runs because it is just a really skillful playthrough, and I know that Kaz has put a lot of time into that particular speed run, and it is a hard game. It probably looks harder than it is, and it's probably harder than it looks, and it looks freaking hard. So that's an indication of how difficult that game is. So pretty good to watch. Yeah,
I think like one of my most favorite things to have seen in a GDQ at all, I mean, again, I haven't seen this year's, but and that was something that Juz was a part of, was the Mario Maker relay. The first one with all the Rigididge, like original kind of Mario
Carl Sagan,
all those guys.
Yeah.
So basically what had happened is there was I'm not too sure how many people got together to create some levels for these guys, and then I mean they're super hard levels, they're super difficult, and you made it in Mario Maker on the Wii U, I guess, back then, or was that, it must have been Wii U. Or maybe it was Switch as well.
No, I think you're right. Wii U. Well, if it was Mario Maker 1, then it was Wii U, but I think these might have been Maker 2, but I could be wrong.
I think it was probably, I think it was on regardless. I'm pretty sure it was the original Mario Maker. They made a team came together to make some incredible levels, and I'm talking like some of the best Mario Maker community level designers in the world at making very, very difficult and strict kind of levels. Basically had two teams of some of the best Mario players in the world try and speed run these levels in a relay fashion, and if they died, they had to pass the controller across.
Yeah.
Can you remember
From
that?
memory, dude, I remember, dude, they had Oratua and the Beast, and I remember the Beast absolutely slaying that race.
Yeah, I remember that was the first time I kind of saw the Beast, and I was just like, holy shit, this guy is a literal god.
Yeah. Very good at the game.
But I mean, there's so many good speedruns that are archived from previous GDQs. So if you haven't had a chance to go and check them out, you absolutely should. I mean, I quite like listening to them in bed, actually, just because sometimes they get some pretty insightful stuff going on where they'll have you know, there's been a couple of times when they've had an ex-developer for the game jump on board, and like then you know the speedrunners will ask a few questions, and the developer will be like, oh well, you know, there's this, and this, and then the speedrunners go, oh shit, so we could do this to do that, and oh shit, I think we've just come up with a new route kind of thing. And then what will happen is like a speedrunner will do some crazy strat where they go out of bounds or do something really weird, and then the developer's like, that's really crazy. You know, it's like, how the fuck did you do that?
They always seem to get the experts in whatever that particular community or just personalities in that community, and just some really good insights into the games that are run for sure.
Definitely an incredible event to check out if you get a chance. And like I said, definitely go and check out the archival of that as well.
Cap, we've got some big news, mate, don't we?
Do we?
Yeah, we've been bought out by Microsoft, mate.
Oh, that just came through then.
Yeah.
We're billionaires now, aren't we?
We are.
Yeah, that's pretty good. After the 2 episodes, fuck, they've already bought us, mate. This is content gold, baby. What are they going to do when we leave? Disgracefully.
I don't know. Maybe they'll hand it over to some other schmucks to do OGR.
Yeah, maybe people will try and do accents. But in all honesty, Grizz, one thing I wanted to maybe wrap up the podcast with you tonight was probably talking about Elden Ring, because obviously that's coming out next month.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
now, in the spirit of Elden Ring coming out soon, and I am insanely excited for this game, I want to talk to you about your Soulsborne tier list. So top to bottom. Well, actually, bottom to top.
Bottom to top.
Least favorite through to favorite, and where you think Elden Ring might be within those as well.
Do I have time to do justifications for each?
Absolutely.
Oh shit! Yeah, guys, strap your helmets in. We're here for another 2 hours tonight, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm not going to work tomorrow. No, I am.
All right. Well, so just to get this straight, so Bloodborne, Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, Sekiro, and Demon Souls, are they the games?
Yeah,
we're Elden Ring. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's start at the bottom. So for me, and the only Souls game content that I haven't finished is Dark Souls 2. Will be bottom of the list. And before I say this, I actually want to quickly say what the order that I played my experience in, because I think that...
Yeah, I think that's a very important thing, big time.
Yeah, I agree. So I started with Dark Souls 3 as my first Souls game, which... And I'll get there when I get there. And then I went to Dark Souls 1. Now, those games play pretty similar in terms of mechanics. And so it was the remastered 2. So I went Dark Souls 3, Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, after I'd played those 2. Bloodborne, Sekiro, Demon Souls. Now, Dark Souls 2 is the bottom of the list for me, simply because I felt that it played quite differently to what Dark Souls 3 and Dark Souls 1 did in terms of the introduction of the adaptability stat, which meant basically you lost iframes between your dodge rolls. So I came into that game, and right early on there's a giant that tries to smack you with his club, and I tried to dodge through his attack, and mid-roll I just get thwalloped and wrecked. And I'm like, what the fuck is this Souls game? Come on, man, I'm a Souls veteran. I've completed Dark Souls 3 and Dark Souls 1. But that's just not what happens.
Well,
sorry.
Were you aware that so the creator of Dark Souls, Miyazaki, he wasn't really involved with Dark Souls 2 at all?
No, I am not aware of that. So I'm glad that you know the backstory. Okay.
There was a bit of an hell problem with that game, and
I actually felt it. So I felt that the areas were long. The boss fights, I didn't find a problem. They weren't too bad. G'day, Kazi. But I did feel that the areas were long and full of fucking just overwhelming amount of mobs in there. I found it I found it painstakingly annoying. So that's the bottom of the list for me. But I wish I had have played that first, because I think without being spoiled by Dark Souls 3 and Dark Souls 1 remastered before that experience, I feel like I would have gone, oh my God, I just love, because it's something about the Dark Souls universe, the darkness, the difficulty, the way the game plays, the satisfaction from clearing an area, that is still a really good experience. And I still enjoyed it. I just kind of wish I wasn't spoiled before that fact, if that makes sense, Cap.
Yeah. So where did you say Bloodborne was in there?
So I did Dark Souls 3, 1, Dark Souls 2, Bloodborne, Sekiro, Demon Souls. So
what's your tier list? What is your...
All right. Dark Souls 2 at the bottom, and then I would go Demon Souls above that. Yeah. And I don't really have a reason why. I thought the PS5 remake was good. I just feel like the other FromSoft games were better, essentially. So above that, so we got, Dark Souls 2, Demon Souls, Dark Souls 1 remastered there. Great game. Loved it. It's almost like the other ones. I just feel like, for me, Bloodborne was just slightly better than Dark Souls 1. I really enjoyed Bloodborne. I actually really enjoyed the... I just wish Bloodborne was at 60 frames, Cap. That's probably my gripe with the game. I wish it was on...
So what I heard with that is, and I don't know how true this is, but the physics engine is tied to the FPS, so they're finding it difficult to, like, kind of improve the frame rate, because by improving the frame rate, they fuck the physics system up, if that makes sense. Okay. Yeah. So, there's definitely plenty of games that tie the FPS with physics systems and stuff like that. I don't know how true that it is. I can't remember where. I don't even have a source for this. I've just heard it, but I'm pretty sure there are mods. Because people are able to mod the game, and I'm pretty sure people have managed to get 60 FPS out of it. How well that translates, I'm not too sure. But
gee, I am honestly surprised, given the amount of outcry frequently on Twitter that PlayStation
I cannot believe they have not done anything with that IP. Yeah. It's just it blows my damn mind.
Is it a FromSoft thing, or is it a PlayStation thing? Any idea?
I think that Sony are smart enough to not try and do it themselves, and I think From Software are very backed up with their own shit going on. And though I have heard that Miyazaki basically said, "Hey, if they're happy to pay us, we'll make it," kind of thing. But there's also just the literal business sense about, how do you find time to make a project like that in amongst Elden Ring, Sekiro, Dark Souls 3? Maybe they're doing it now. Who fucking knows? Who knows?
And just to make that clear, so I saw someone say it in chat, but it was Scholar of the First Sin for Dark Souls 2. So getting back to
that's kind of like the DLC. Kind of, the Mad Dog edition.
The tier list, the top 3. So sitting at number 3 was, as in the third. We'll go ahead and say, what have I got left?
I've Sekiro.
Dark Souls 1. Yeah, number two for me was Sekiro. Loved it. Sekiro is a cracker game, and it's just so funny how, like, From Soft are like, guys, this is just our we're just going to release this game.
Yeah.
But we're just going to, like, keep you guys waiting for Elden Ring. But by the way, just have this game and play.
Have this in the meantime. It's pretty rad, though, don't you think? Like, to be able to pump out a game that is, I mean, it's a completely different world. Obviously, they leverage kind of Japanese mythology quite heavily, but like to be able to deviate so much and go from Dark Souls and quickly just pump this game out in the flanks kind of thing, it blows my damn mind.
Absolutely. And one thing that I think that Sekiro did really well that wasn't really in the other games was the vertical nature. And what I mean by that is being able to scale up the walls and grapple yourself around. And I felt that freedom in a Souls game was kind of groundbreaking for me. I will go ahead and say this, Cap, that I think that Sekiro is a good, and maybe people can say, Grizzly, you're an idiot, mate. You're wrong. But for me, it was a one playthrough game, simply because it didn't have the itemization, customization that I was used to in the previous Souls games. um, which led to things, me doing like challenge runs and bits and pieces. I just kind of felt like the skill system that they incorporated into Sekiro didn't really go towards that. And I feel like that's proof in the pudding. If you go, I bet if you went to Twitch right now and you looked at the Sekiro directory and you compared that to the Dark Souls 3 or the Dark Souls 1 directory, you would see more people watching those games over Sekiro.
Yeah, I'd 100% agree with that. And I think even From Software knows that about its game, because I don't know if you're aware, Grizz, but there's the demon bell you can ring in Sekiro. Have you heard about that?
Oh, yes. Yes, I did. I didn't have it on because I was already getting my ass kicked.
Yeah. So for those at home who aren't aware, the demon bell was something you could ring to make the game significantly harder. I can't really remember exactly what it does. I probably just like increases enemy health, probably the classic old, the old increase the HP and hope for the best kind of difficulty slider. But I think I think From Software probably realized that maybe it wasn't going to get, maybe they needed to introduce something like that to get people to do the New Game Plus kind of thing, and have that challenge. Because you're right, I think obviously Dark Souls, there's so many different ways you can play those games, and I mean, even look at the people who do no hit runs and stuff like that. Like there's just just in like no death runs and doing it with this particular weapon, or no armor, or I mean, Sekiro doesn't have that kind of flexibility because it's kind of almost like they blended like a Metroidvania kind of flavor in there, which I think worked really well for them. I mean, it made the boss fights quite interesting because there were certain things you could do to kind of make the boss fights a bit easier, which kind of has a bit of a Legend of Zelda feel to it, in my opinion. But yeah, I agree overall.
Yeah, 100%. And my number one spot, Cap, no surprises. And I feel like that this is something that probably resonates with everyone. It was my first Souls game. Dark Souls 3 has a special place in my heart. And I don't know what it is. I think it was actually, it's almost like nostalgia for me. It is the feeling of dipping my toes into the Dark Souls universe and playing through it. It's actually interesting because when I first went to play that game, I actually sent a message out to my community saying, thinking of playing Dark Souls, you think I should? And everyone was like, nah, you fucking hate it. Like, you're just not going to enjoy it. It's dying lots, and I don't think it's for you. But boy, were they wrong. I just found it really good. Although I'm not a big lore head, I really liked the general design of everything, from the layouts of the areas, and you go through this crazy big area and you end up linking back to going through a door and linking back to a bonfire that you'd activated an hour before, and going, oh my god, this is where I am. I just thought it was all very well put together. So that's my tier list. Just to recap: Dark Souls 3 at the top, Sekiro, Bloodborne, Dark Souls 1, Demon Souls, Dark Souls 2. That is my tier list. In terms of my expectation for Elden Ring, Cap, I think it is going to be fucking groundbreaking. And I think even people that aren't Dark Souls fans, and if you're sitting out there and you haven't played a FromSoft game, do yourself a favor and go and prep for Elden Ring and play yourself a FromSoft game before it comes out, because I think it's going to have everything in it that everyone's looking for. I have extremely high expectations for Elden Ring, and I'm extremely excited about it. That's probably all I want to say.
Yeah, I agree. I think in terms of my list, I think I'd probably go. See, first game I ever played was Dark Souls 2. That was my first Dark Souls.
Was it?
And
okay.
I actually really like Dark Souls 2. I can see there are many flaws with it. Especially like layout, and some of the bosses are a little bit janky, and I think even the lore is a little bit funny here and there. It doesn't do an amazing job to really kind of do some bits and pieces. I think even just like some of the layouts are quite. When you go and play a video game and that elevator is a loading elevator, and you kind of that's the whole reason. Like, there's parts of that game where you're like, I'm walking down this corridor because it's loading the next fucking area. So it kind of like. The immersion kind of breaks here and there, but I think Like there's parts of that game that I find so nostalgic because it was my first Dark Souls, and of all of them is the fucking Majula theme song, dude. When you walk into Majula and it is
Yeah,
the
actually, that
best
is really
song.
good.
It is so good. Like if you ever listen to the Majula theme song, go and have a listen to it. It's very weird, bit creepy, but it's so fucking cool. But I do think that's probably so. I need to specify that these games aren't separated by much apart from my number one. Like my number one for me is just I think it is so far ahead of all the rest of the games for so many reasons, and I'll get to that. But
Okay.
I think the rest of these games I think are pretty close in terms of how much I
I
like
know
them
your
all.
number one, Cap.
I know it, mate.
A lot of people probably do. But so Dark Souls 2, Demon Souls, then I would say probably Dark Souls 3 for me, then Sekiro, then Dark Souls 1. And then numero uno for me is 100% without a doubt Bloodborne. And what carries Bloodborne for me is I just think the lore in that game is it is a tragedy that lore is tied up in a video game and is not publicly accessible without playing that game, because I think it is one of the best fucking things that anyone has fucking. It is Lord of the Rings like level shit. It is so fucking good. Like just the way things tie. Like I think Bloodborne does a better job than Dark Souls of giving you a better idea of what's going on in the game lore wise, but it does have the depth and scope that Dark Souls has. With trying to figure shit out and how things tie in together. I think the atmosphere, the setting is incredible. I think the whole Victorian era kind of werewolf narrative that suddenly turns into this weird Lovecraftian fucking horror thing is just such an incredible mix of genres. For me, like story is so fucking important in video games for me, and so when you can create something like Bloodborne, it's incredible, absolutely incredible. That's absolutely my standout. Where will Elden Ring sit in there? I still don't think Elden Ring will beat Bloodborne for me.
Really? Okay.
No, I don't think so. I don't think.
But Cap, what about now they've got a proper writer to help write those stories? Do you
Look,
think
I think it'll be amazing. I think it'll be amazing, but I don't know if the whole sort of pseudo, because it looks like they're kind of going for like a pseudo Nordic, because they've got like it looks like they've got the world tree Yggdrasil in the background, and like they got that pseudo Nordic kind of what do you call it, mythos kind of thing going on, maybe kind of mixed in with kind of medieval shit as well. I think I just find the Bloodborne stuff just so much more interesting than that. Like,
see, I
it's incredible.
love the Nordic stuff, mate. I am so
I do
excited.
too. Don't get me wrong.
Shit.
I think if they can blend in some, because I mean, Nordic mythology stories are fucking interesting. Like the whole God of War stuff is super, super interesting. But I think ultimately for me, like the Bloodborne, I mean, I'm a huge Lovecraft fan, like the short stories by the original writer. So I find that whole genre of kind of like Lovecraftian horror and, that feeling of despair when you're kind of like trying to rationalize these things that are just completely irrational that you're observing in the world. And Bloodborne manages to turn that into a game system with the insight system. I just think it's just such a fucking well-designed game, and I cannot believe there is not another one. Maybe at the same token, I'm glad there isn't another one, because how do you top that? But God, there's so much they could do. Like there's a couple of like places that are pointed to in the lore of Bloodborne that suggests that the whole thing that's happening in Yharnam has happened in other places, and then they were researching that whole thing in those other places.
That's so cool. Maybe it's like an alternate
like a
universe
prequel,
kind of thing.
like a prequel thing in one of the earlier places where it happened. One of the main place I'm thinking of is Lauren. I think it's Lauren from memory. It's basically in the lore. It says it's a place of sands where the scourge of the beast took grip as well. So doing maybe an Arabic flavored kind of Dark Souls Bloodborne kind of thing, like that could be fucking really cool. They've done Japan, they've done all the medieval shit, they've done Victorian Gothic horror. Let's go and do fucking Arabic stuff. That'd be fucking cool. And now we're also doing Nordic stuff. Maybe that's what they do next. How rad would that be? Prince of Persia kind of shit.
Either way, if you haven't played Dark Souls games yet, Kamikaze Cracker, go and play your game before Elden Ring comes out so that we can play it together.
Where would you start, Grizz?
Well, if I was is the right word masochist, I would say start at Dark Souls 2 because it's the worst of the lot. But I think if someone wants to experience their favorite game that is going to look the best and play the best, I would have to say Dark Souls 3 is the best place to start. If you were going to play one, I would.
Do you think that's an accessibility thing?
Yes, I do. I would not say Demon Souls because I reckon that game is fucking punishing, man. And it is.
I think they learned a lot about level design in that game. Going forward into Dark Souls, for example. Like, look at the way that the prison place you go to. I can't remember what that place is called. The tower, the Ivory Tower. No, it's the Tower of something.
Oh no,
it's just like area. It's just like prison cells after prison cells after prison cells. And you're like, where the fuck am I?
Exactly, dude. And then they put this one bridge, and there's just like this really strong guy in it that just kicks your ass every time, and you can't run past him. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah, I think I personally would tell people to play Dark Souls 1 remastered.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's
absolutely
good.
Because I think, and I would go as far to say, skip Dark Souls 2 and Demon Souls, play 1 and 3, and then play the greatest game of all time, Bloodborne.
Agreed, mate. Agreed.
But Grizz, I think we're kind of hitting our time, though.
One just last thing. If you could pick one Dark Souls game that you would suggest for viewers to play before Elden Ring, which one Dark Souls game would it be? Would you say it's Dark Souls 1? Would you? Is that what you're saying? Locking it in?
Yeah, I'd even say that above Bloodborne.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Dark Souls 1 is the purest like Dark Souls experience, and I don't know. It just it does a good job at everything, and I think it's kind of like Ocarina of Time, Like Breath of the Wild is a fucking incredible game, So is Dark Souls 3, but like Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time or Legend of Zelda, what was the one on SNES? My brain's just collapsed in on itself. A Link to the Past. Is that the one I'm thinking of?
Ocarina of Time, Link to the Past.
Like those, like probably a Link to the Past. Like I would say, Dark Souls is that equivalent. It's like the fucking Dark Souls game that people go, oh, that's Dark Souls. And obviously Dark Souls 3 is Dark Souls. But I really do feel like it's such a good starting point. And it holds up really fucking well. Like you go and play the remastered one, like. That game's brutally punishing, but just incredible. And they do a good job of, level design. And I mean, apart from Blighttown, Blighttown is a literal blight on, everything that's ever existed. But I think that's where I would ask people, what about you? Where do you think?
Is that the area is Pinwheel at the bottom of Blighttown? Is that area?
No, Quaylag is at the bottom of Blighttown. Oh, okay. And he got like, it's like all those rickety fucking wooden things on the side of that pillar under the huge bridge, and you're kind of like going through this dark area, and you've got the people with the little loincloths, and they got big clubs and shit. That one? They got the big blood mosquitoes floating around as well.
Pretty sure that's where you pick up the falcon somewhere up the top of there. I'm pretty sure that area.
Probably. I can't quite remember exactly what's in there. But
Pap is literally going, guys, you need to shut up, all right? You've gone well overboard. You're in trouble. The producer's giving us the clamps.
Pack it in. Well, I think we might pack it in, Grizz. Grizz, where can people find us on the socials?
Oh, Twitch. Oh, well, actually, the best way to do it, Pav, can you come on and tell the people where to find us, please, mate?
Matt, where can people find us?
All right, guys. Firstly, thank you all for listening. It's been a pleasure. You can find us if you're here with us in Twitch chat, listening along. You can see our link tree right on there. Check us out on all of the platforms. If you're listening at a future date, hello from the past. But you can also just check down in the description. You'll see us all over the internet, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. Check us out. Check us a follow. We'd appreciate it. And let's without further ado, you guys wanna take us out?
Yeah.
Let's
Guys, thanks for listening. Appreciate you being here. I think we've worked hard to try and improve the quality of the podcast from last time. I think hopefully you guys notice audio improvement. I mean, hopefully I'm not breathing as much as last time. I went back and listened to the other podcast. I was like, Jesus Christ, who is fucking breathing? It was me.
Feedback is always welcome, though, on any of the socials and anywhere you want to find us. Please let us know what you liked, what you didn't like, what you would like to see. We would really appreciate anything like that.
Yeah.
And
if
you guys give us a 1-star on the podcast, Pav is going to slap you in the face.
Absolutely.
Basically.
Yeah, he will find you. He'll do a Liam Neeson on you. Trust me, I've seen it. He's scary. But finally, yeah, guys, thank you so much for joining us here today. Please, again, like, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff, and we will see you soon. I don't know when that'll be. But yeah, we're going to try and pump out more of these episodes as ASAP. Appreciate you.
Bye.
See you next time.
Bye.
You little beauty.
All right, and that's the end of recording. Shall we finish up Twitch chat? Did you want to say hi to anyone while we're here?
Hi, honey. Hi, honey.
Hi, Helen, honey, you freaking legend. Schnapple, you freaking legend. Kamikaze Cracker, Sergeant Paul, Deb. God, it's so nice to see so many wonderful people that I haven't chatted to. Dano, you fucking ripper. Yeah, guys, thanks for supporting this little venture that we're doing. We appreciate it big time. Sorry we don't interact with the stream as much as we sort of do with our other Twitch endeavors, but yeah, I mean, obviously trying to produce a podcast is a little bit difficult to like have that weird like wall breaking of like, you know, interacting with Twitch chat, which you as a listener can't see transpiring. So yeah, we do pull things out here and there, obviously as we go along. Like if you feel like, what was that game again? And like, you know, it's like, oh, it was this game. You're like, yeah, that game. Like, yeah, obviously we're gonna be like, yeah, thanks. Like I think Jim did it a couple of times. You fucking
Jim was good, mate. He's onto it, eh?
Jim's like a little fucking gaming encyclopedia. Rio, g'day, mate. Welcome on in.
Rio.
But yeah, no, look, guys, if you get a chance to listen to the podcast and download it, please do. Just listen to it even if you just like load it on Spotify, that's probably good for our like e-discovery shit, I guess. But yeah, you can find us on Spotify and you can find us on Apple Podcasts, I guess. Is that correct, Pav?
That's right. We're on a bunch. Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify. Apple, I said a bunch. There's quite a few. You can check it out on our Anchor list. Just go to the link tree. It's all there, man. It's beautiful.
It's all there, babe.
Get it done.
It's nice to see some of the legends from stream.
Hey, thanks, Retro, you legend.
Retro, you bloody.
I hope you guys enjoyed it. I mean, obviously, this is only our second episode, so we're still trying to get the vibe of a podcast and turn it into something that's I think we're doing a pretty good job. I think we're doing okay.
I felt tonight, in terms of the flow and things, I felt like we're definitely finding the groove, mate.
Absolutely.
I thought that was quite good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it was it was a good fun episode, and I hope that audio quality is good.
Best thing is, you guys got a little excited, and I think we're gonna get 2 episodes out of this. So
You probably can split it, actually.
Because right up, like include all of the Microsoft stuff, and then like you guys had a full-on chat about. Honestly, you could have even kept the Souls stuff for a full like a separate, because you could easily have gone for another hour on that.
You really toned down. You really toned down your review on those, Cap. You only really talked about Bloodborne
I could have gone forever, but plus obviously Microsoft has bought us now, guys, so that's another we're gonna have a huge cash influx now. Yeah, so it's gonna be huge.
Hey, chat, while we've got you, any suggestion for titles of the podcast?
Oh, that's a good one. We can get a chat suggestion for our title each week.
Chat suggestion.
Actually, we should really be trying to like actively think of like weird, silly shit we say during the podcast as a title name. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to think of something stupid we said today. I can't remember. Yeah, I can't fucking remember.
Lots of stupid shit. Well, I mean, Microsoft buys OGR. We should probably mention that.
That's got a shoehorn in.
The main topic. Make sure you put Oz in it so they know. Yeah, that's it, Kazi. You got to do that, mate.
Oh yeah, how would they know that we're Australian otherwise? You know.
Very, very good point.
Old man yells at corporations.
I like that a lot.
I do like that. That's so good. Oh, fucking hell.
Well, that's kind of nice. Old men yell at corporations because it needs to be something to do with Activision Blizzard being bought. So we can somehow incorporate that into the old men thing.
Yo, we'll chuck it.
Microsoft is the dark
souls
of
corporations. That's good. That's good.
Fucking hell, yeah. I mean, fucking oath. That's so on point. It's out of control.
That's fantastic. I'm writing these down.
I love it. I fucking love it. We probably should get like a email address if people want to ask us questions.
Well, I was thinking, man.
I was going to talk to you guys about that after stream. Is
this something that you could incorporate into a Patreon, Pav?
Well, funny you mention a Patreon. If you check out that link tree right at the bottom, you'll see a cheeky little Patreon.
You can see pictures of us naked on our Patreon if you would like.
Where the fuck is Patreon? Oh, here we go.
It's right at the bottom. Okay. It's just sneaky at the moment. We haven't really advertised it yet, but if you would like to support us, we'd appreciate it.
Ollie, g'day, Elephant. Nice to see you.
Hey, g'day, Elephant. How are you, brother? You just missed the podcast, mate. But guess what? It's going to be on Spotify, and you can listen to it in post.
That's exactly.
You got to listen. Got to listen to the podcast, Elephant. Get in there, mate. Yes, we will eventually have a Patreon that will.
The Patreon's up and running, dude.
What? The Patreon's up and running? What, you're saying people can subscribe to the Patreon now?
They could if they wanted to.
Yeah, they can if they want to.
What do they get, Pav?
Right now,
you can go check it out. Let's.
What do they get? Good question.
Okay, fine. Let me pull it up. Look, it's there's no real.
There's no benefit.
There's no real guts of it.
There is no benefit.
If you would like
helping us out.
Now, if you want to get involved with some questions, topics, even if potentially have a video played in the stream of you asking a question, just to incorporate more of the community. That's all in there. Stuff will be like tweaked as we go forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is definitely a big work in progress for us because I mean, we all work full time, so like trying to manage this plus life and other responsibilities like bands and all this other kind of shit what we do. Trying to juggle this as well. It's going to be a slow burn, but I mean, obviously the big one is we're going to be getting content in fucking Spotify regularly. I don't know where our next one's going to be, but it will be soon. Whether it might even be next week, I don't know, or maybe the week after. I know we want to do it fairly regularly. It might even be like, I don't know. Because obviously we also want to not be doing it too often where we're like, so Grizz,
what are we talking about today, Cap? You know what? That's never going to happen.
I can't imagine that would ever happen.
Talk about condoms and cornbread if we have to, mate.
That's a secret episode. Yeah. Secret episode, cornbread and condoms on our Patreon tonight.
Yeah. So what can you expect next episode? Condoms and cornbread. How good's that? Have you ever had cornbread before?
It's actually pretty delicious.
I've never had cornbread. This is quite a big thing. Well, this is an ongoing. This is a meme of Kazi, is the old cornbread and condoms. He actually won a Amazon gift voucher, and I asked him what he bought with his Amazon gift voucher from the stream, and he told me that he bought condoms and cornbread from Amazon.
Dude, do you want to know something? Fucking that is fucking awesome.
That's
if he did.
fantastic.
Secondly, I once won a raffle in Dunsborough, which is a town probably about 3 hours sort of southwest of Perth, and I won a roast chicken at the raffle.
Was it cooked?
I don't know
Was it
why this
cooked
is
or what?
related. Yeah, it was a cooked roast chicken from IGA. me all like, yes. So good. I think we won something else from memory, but yeah, the old fucking cooked chook raffle. It was so good, dude. But yeah, anyways, I'm probably gonna fucking go. I need to go to bed.
Yeah, let's wrap this up.
But yeah, guys, thanks for hanging out tonight. Freaking, I really appreciate it. Keep an eye on. We'll try and be a little bit more pre-planned with when we expect to be going live, so we're not kind of dropping it on you next time. The only reason it was kind of like this week is because we've all just sort of come back into work, and it's been kind of hitting the ground running and just trying to get something out ASAP. So we haven't had an awful lot of time to do socials, but you can expect more social stuff soon.
Yeah, that's right. If you're going to follow us anywhere, follow us on Twitter. That's how you're going to keep up to date. At the very
We might have a
least.
Discord in the future, but for now we don't. So
We're hopefully in the near future. That's literally what I was about to talk to you guys after stream.
Love your work, Red. Good to see you too, buddy.
way ahead of you, Pav.
I know.
Got him. G'day, Reg, you gorgeous thing. But yeah, guys, look, have a great night. Thank you for being here, and expect another podcast soon. Make sure you go and check out the one that's we'll post about it on Twitter. So go and check us out on Twitter.
You beauty. See you,
Hey,
legends.
Judy. See you next time.
Beauty.
Bye-bye
Peace
now.
out.
Catch you later.
Bye.